Welcome to the Mistress of Change podcast for women devoted to living your highest life and purpose in the world. These conversations are about activating your personal power to ignite your unique genius, your quintessential style, and your potential for greatness, vitality, and abundance. Do stay tuned till the end to find the resources and the gifts we have for you, and make sure you take action on the world-class advice. And now, enjoy the podcast. Welcome, my beautiful ladies, to this episode of Mistress of Change, and also brought to you by the House of Preeminence and the Preeminence Rising platform. Now, my guest today is somebody I have been attached to energetically, even though she didn't know it, for 10 years. Now, many of you know the story of how I had the magazine 10 years ago in 2012. And what it's become, how the House of Preeminence is growing. And the universe has done its work, and it's brought me to this person to bring to you, who I know you are going to absolutely love, for her message, for the impact that you so want to make. And we're going to talk about that. We've got lots of juicy topics, ladies, that you are going to love. My guest is a multi-award-winning pioneer for the women's entrepreneurial movement. She has been a luminary for as long as I can remember and have been on this. She still looks fresh as a daisy and glorious. And one of the reasons that we connected so much recently is because we're both riders and we both love beauty. So we're going to bring all of the beauty and the grace. And she hasn't got a horse, but it is my absolute delight to welcome Kendall SummerHawk.
Thank you. Beautiful introduction. Thank you. Yeah, if I could have one of my horses here with us, wouldn't that be amazing, right?
Definitely would. It definitely would. So we were just touching on the fact that there had been this connection, even though you weren't aware of it, all of those years ago, and how the universe has kind of conspired to bring both of our lives, which have probably changed quite a bit in the meantime, together to transmit something that you ladies out there need to hear. That's the whole point of the House of Preeminence, is for this wisdom to come through us. And I would love to ask you, first of all, Kendall, in that time, in that 10 years, how much has the entrepreneurial landscape for women changed and shifted? What is your observation of how it's shifted, and what is relevant now?
That's a great question. Because I've been in business now over 21 years, so it's been a really long time, and yet it feels like 6 months. You know, it's happened so fast. I think that in the last 10 years, what's shifted, and there's so much that shifted in the last 2 years, very specifically, that first of all, the opportunities for women to really be able to make a tremendous amount of money. I mean, and I don't mean this to sound like hype, but to truly be able to make an unlimited amount of money, that's definitely been a shift. And we can talk more about that. But so I think that's number one. And that changes everything. The ability for a woman to make a lot of money changes her, changes her family, changes her community, changes the world at large. My whole mission is to put the power of making money into every woman's hands. So that's a big shift. I think the other big shift is that women, particularly in the coaching space, which is the space that I live and breathe in, and you are there, you know, obviously as well. So particularly in the coaching space, the shift has been that women have gotten incredibly good at marketing. Like, they're really mastering online marketing. And I know that's funny to say, because a lot of women think, I don't get it, it's confusing, it's overwhelming, but they actually are getting it in a way that they never had before, that they really hadn't before. And I think that the online space in many ways is very suitable for a woman, very suitable for her personality. You have to approach it a certain way depending on your personality and your own temperament. But I think it's a naturally wonderful playground for women to step into and to really be able to master, to excel, and to be very, very profitable. So making money, getting really good at marketing. I think the other thing is that women have become, we're so much smarter than we used to be. Women innately are smart, of course, but I think that we're just so much more savvy, and my experience and my observation both have been that we're so less willing to put up with any crap. So there's this savviness, there's this level of empowerment and really owning one's power that I didn't see 10 years ago. And I certainly didn't see 15 and 18 years ago, just did not see it at all. And so I think that's really been a big shift. And I think that women are, I think that I want to say they're demanding more, and demanding isn't quite the right word. I think that they're setting a higher standard for the quality of life that they want to live and the quality of relationships that they want to have. And I think that women are more and more willing to help each other. I'm standing in my power, you're standing so beautifully in yours. And together, that's an exponential impact. No one takes away from anybody else. Together, as you say, preeminence rising. So together we are rising, and that's an exponential impact. And I think the last thing is that I think that once a woman steps into this space, starts making money, starts kind of getting a feel for things, that she becomes less and less willing to do the hustle masculine way. It's just like, no, I don't have to do it that way. And I'm no longer willing to do it that way. And so they're seeking out alternatives, and they're bringing all this wisdom and savviness to it. And a lot is changing. It's really exciting to see. I think it's just such an exciting time for women. I really do.
I agree, and I'd love to just touch on this point of women seeking out another way, almost like they're turning their heads to the light, because many women, especially coaches, have not thrived in a more masculine, traditional masculine business model. And women, and I know this from being surrounded and immersed in the arena of coaches now for years, and you have, is that women have been yearning to fight, to be shown that it's okay to bring all of our femininity. Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in here. So I've said for a long time that I really believe that making fabulous money is part of our spiritual path. I absolutely firmly believe that making fabulous money is part of our spiritual path. And the reason I say that is because it's very difficult to, people who are very spiritual, who have I want to help. Ever since the day I was born, my mom always tells me, I've always was a helping person. I love helping people. I adore helping people. And so that desire to help and to really support others and bring them up and to champion other people, it's really almost impossible to do that at any level of volume, at any level of scale, at any level of real impact, and not make a lot of money. Like, in other words, when you start really coming forward and doing that in a bigger way and in a very impactful way, it's very easy to make a lot of money. And so I think that when I say making fabulous money is part of our spiritual path, I know for me that meant having to work through an intense, almost crippling fear of public speaking, right? And you've seen pictures of me on stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm on camera all the time. And yet I used to be the person, I literally would not have been able to do this. I would have been so nervous. My throat literally would have closed up and I wouldn't have been able to literally speak. And so so it's like, but I have this desire to help and to be out there and make a difference. So that working through that willingness to be seen and heard and be visible, that's part of our spiritual path. Being spiritual, I think, is not about religion, but to me, being spiritual is about growth, and it's about fulfilling our purpose at the highest level possible. Really fulfilling our soul's divine purpose is what I've always said. And so, and I believe that when we do that, and in the process of doing that, we make fabulous money. We make fabulous money, and to include the money-making aspect, because otherwise, and I hope I didn't get us off topic here, but otherwise what happens is, for a lot of women in this who are spiritual, who have a lot of deep emotions, who can be very empathetic, who can be very intuitive, like you are, like I am, that a lot of women can separate and say, oh, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. I don't care about money. They can get, I call it spiritual snobbery. They can divorce themselves from their spiritual path, divorced from the money aspect. And it's like, oh, no, you can't do that. You cannot separate that inside of you. Otherwise, you will never step fully into either path. So let's combine them. Let's get them into alignment, into synchronization and harmony, and do the process, do the work spiritually, soulfully, of getting over our stuff around money as we go forward and do that. And we then make a lot of money. And women do amazing things when they make money. They do amazing things.
They do. And that's something I'd like to touch on in a little bit, because I think it is more relevant than ever before.
Yeah.
Now, I know that women listening to this are going, yeah, absolutely. By the way, there are no stop topics.
Okay.
There are no stop topics or off topics at all. And but so I know women are going, yeah, I believe this. That's my ideal. It's where I'm going. But still, so many coaches and people helpers, certain service providers out there, women, are overwhelmed by the amount of 1 million moving parts that there is. And my gosh, it's now that we've, there were already 1 million when we were kind of looking up 10 years ago, but now there are even more, because technology's changed and even marketing's changed, and like there were webinars and then there weren't webinars. It's just like things come and they go, but still the reality is a lot of women overwhelmed by 1 million moving parts that they are unsure how to bring into their business, don't know what to start first, don't know what to do next. So let me speak.
So I was making some notes so I don't forget. May I jump in? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Please. I get so excited. I think what you're saying is absolutely true. And I so appreciate you for presencing it, because it's there, it's real, it's true. I think that, so I want to say a couple of things here that I think are going to be helpful. I hope they're helpful. One is that, in a certain way, when I started my business, and I'm going to sound like I'm 150 years old here, but there was no social media. There weren't really even, their webinars were kind of starting. There just wasn't all of these pieces. So in a certain way, it was a lot easier. It was a lot easier because there weren't all these choices. You just did a few things. And at the same time, I remember being overwhelmed there then too, and not sure how to proceed. And so now, in one way, it's more difficult because there are so many different things, like what you just pointed out so eloquently. And on the other hand, that's a beautiful thing, because there's a way to do it for each of us. So here's the piece that I hope will be helpful, is that I think if you look at fundamentals, like for example, speaking to me is a business fundamental. And you don't get hung up on, for the moment, on if it's a webinar or whether it's an interview or podcasting or on stage, whatever. Don't worry about that. The fundamental is speaking. The fundamental is just speaking. There are very few fundamentals in business. There's just a small number of them, which is awesome, right? There's being heard. There's being seen and heard. I'm going to call it speaking as an umbrella. There is the fundamental of what you're actually offering. In other words, what is the service? I really specialize. I love service-based businesses because I love service. But so, what is the basic service? What is the construct of the service that you're offering? How much are you charging for it? This is huge. You know me, I'm a pricing queen. And how it's delivered. I mean, really, which is really kind of tied up into the offer. Those are the basic fundamentals. And if you, and actually, I'm sorry, let me put one more in there so that there's 4, is the craft, your actual skill, your level of excellence, your level of mastery at what it is that you do. You know, crappy coaches who are fabulous marketers can make money, but they're still crappy coaches and they're not doing anything for the planet. And fabulous coaches cannot make any money because they haven't mastered some of these other fundamentals. But I am somebody, as you know, my company is 100% focused on certification training. And so I am a big believer in, and I went into certification because I believe in women being thoroughly, properly trained to coach other women. And I walked away from a multi-million-dollar income stream to focus exclusively on certification. I walked away from it like in 2017, 2018. So to get back to this, when you work on the craft of your coaching, for example, you work on whatever your craft is, when you work on the craft of speaking, when you settle on an offer and you charge high ticket. Every business on the planet has the opportunity to have a high ticket offering. Absolutely. When you focus on those fundamentals, then it just becomes a choice of right now, do I feel like doing webinars? So you can make a choice if you're a more experimental person. That's great. You can experiment with the different mechanisms, the different platforms of delivering your message. Or you can say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. Like, I'm not going to go travel around all over the world like I used to doing presentations. It's just not what I'm going to do at this phase and evolution of my life. I love staying home with my horses on my property. So I need to find a different mechanism, right? So it's online. So you look at the mechanisms and you say, what suits my personality? We have somebody in certification who said, I'm not really into social media. I'm going to do speaking. It's like, great. And I teach them how to do that. And the people I teach how to do that do phenomenally well with it because they're following what's right for them. So that's a long answer, but I hope it gives everybody permission. Focus on your 4 fundamentals and then permission to then pick and choose, experiment, see what works for you in terms of all the different options out there, and just ignore the rest of it. It's like it doesn't exist. It's just noise. I tune it out. I don't even listen to it.
That's so important for women here, that they can discern their model and craft it according to their unique gifts, desires, temperament, personality, family circumstances, everything. I think it's so key, and even more so now, well, especially now that we can fly again and travel's opened up and all these possibilities are here that they were a little bit limited for a couple of years. So I would love to for you to talk about something that I observed on your website. Which is that clients don't pay for coaching, they pay for content.
Yeah, let me refine that a little bit. So thank you for noticing that, by the way. It's not been the easiest message to get across, so thank you. You just made my day in more ways than one. No, they don't actually pay for coaching. Clients pay for results. They pay to get from here. They come to hire a coach in a before state. They want the after state. Right. And, nobody's really hiring coaching for the most part just to say, oh, I have a coach. I mean, gosh, I wish that was true, right? We'd all be billionaires. But what they pay for, so I want to refine what you said. What they pay for is to be taken through a somewhat prescribed process, a signature process, a series of steps that they don't need to understand all the steps. They don't need to be trained or an expert in all the steps. It's not what they're interested in. What they want to hear from the coach is, you have a plan for me. You have things you're going to take me, steps you're going to take me through that are going to get me the result that I want. And ultimately, and we focus on certifying women to coach other women entrepreneurs across any industry. Most women entrepreneurs, what they want is to make more money, make a bigger impact, and work less. They want more freedom. So they want more money, more impact, more freedom. This is universal. And so when you can say to a woman, I'm going to help you do that, and you say that in a way that's unique to you, and that has your own particular spin on it, that is, you're going to get their attention. Now, the mechanism of how we're going to do that is through coaching. They're like, okay, whatever. They almost don't care, or they get excited. Oh, coaching is going to give me that. Yay. But just coaching on its own, they don't get that excited about before they're in it. Once somebody's in coaching, a coach should be skilled enough that the client really loves, being coached. I mean, a person should love the experience for the most part of being coached. Sometimes you have to challenge them a little bit and they may not like you in that moment, but that's okay. I just want to clarify. So when I say content or done for you content, done for you curriculum, signature process, that's what they're wanting, whatever yours is. You need to have one. This is a fundamental mistake in pretty much every coach certification out there. And there's a reason why it's like that, but that's what it's like. And so coaches get spit out of these life coaching trainings, and there's nothing wrong with the trainings. There's some good trainings out there, but they're just trying to sell coaching, and it doesn't work. And I'm such a believer. This is how, I'm sitting here as a self-made multimillionaire. I mean, I make more than 7 figures every single year. And, I'm not saying it to brag, but just to say, I was a career waitress years ago. I'm a high school graduate. So I'm sitting here as somebody who has made millions, has saved millions, retirement fully funded. I live a very nice, quiet, fairly modest lifestyle, but a very nice lifestyle with these very expensive horses, as you know, my Spanish Andalusians, and it's all from coaching, and it's all from coaching people through, and now through certification, but it's through coaching women through a very particular signature process, and they got results, and they got results, and they got results, and then they said, hey, can you train me in that? And that's how I started certifying. We've been certifying since 2009, June of 2009, so for a long time.
I deliberately want to just stay here a little bit longer, because it is so key, as I see, especially with women coaches who are just starting out, maybe a few years under their belt, and learning different modalities and bringing modalities in, and kind of finding what they can bring in. But for me, that this is really key as well. There's that having a system, a unique signature system, and I'm glad that you shared with us that your own system, with all of the different components and the way that you adapt it for is the way that you are able to scale. So this Absolutely. Is what I want to come to, that we can underscore for the ladies, is having a system or a signature is the way to scale, even if you're just starting and you just start with
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. Let's back it down from scaling, because scale is the hot word, the last 2-3 years, and everyone's sitting here overwhelmed at how to get their business going, overwhelmed at how to have money coming in and break $100,000 in 1 year. And then they're hearing all this stuff about scale. And it's like, forget scale. You don't need scale right now. What you need are paying clients, high ticket paying clients. And I absolutely, I'll walk through fire for this, is that absolutely from day one in a coach's business, day one in a consultant's business, day one in any service business, you go high ticket, absolutely. And as you learn and grow, you go high ticket and you're coaching people through a signature process. Like right there, that is the foundation of a business that will make as much money as you can ever dream of. And I'm here as living proof to say that that's true. And plus we've coached a lot of people and certified a lot of people, and seen people get into 7 figures, get into multi 6 figures very, very rapidly, sometimes overnight actually, but if they offer a group coaching, but very, very quickly, a very quick ramp up, and then you're scaling. Scaling is simply a matter of having your offer, however you offer your coaching, having that offer be something that you can have more and more and more people sign up for it without it completely breaking and falling apart. And so, for example, having that signature process is how I went from struggling. Like I started to work out the signature process, and it just, through the grace of God, came to me, right? And then started making more money, That got me to 6 figures. Absolutely. The first year I did that. And I was there for 3 years in a row. It's really interesting too. First time I made 6 figures, I I had never made that kind of money before. I didn't know any other women who had made that kind of money before. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I was so incredibly proud. And then the next year I did it again, about the same amount. And I thought, okay, this is good. It's 2 years in a row. And I thought, And then the third year I did it, plus or minus a couple $1,000s. I thought, okay, I appreciate the money. I'm grateful, and I am stuck. Stuck is stuck at any dollar amount. So I'm stuck. And so I made a decision in that moment, because I'm an ambitious woman and I wanted to make more money and help people. And I wanted more fulfillment. And I made a decision to be $1 million business owner. And I'll never forget it. It was in 2006. And I made that decision not knowing any $1 million business owners, not knowing anybody who made that kind of money, no idea how I was going to do it. It scared the living daylights out of me, but I knew that's what I wanted. And I stuck to it. One of your beautiful 9 graces is endurance. And that's one of my favorites, right? And so I stuck with it. And I started immediately. The change I made was immediately I started running my business through the perspective of being $1 million business owner. And that didn't mean I went and bought a bunch of fancy clothes and leased a fancy car. I didn't do those showy things, but I looked at my email. Quite truthfully, that was the first thing. How does $1 million business owner handle her email? Well, she doesn't do it herself, so I hired a virtual assistant. Some of these changes were very small, and I hired somebody to clean my house. These changes were very small, but they made an impact. And I will tell you, Jenny, that there were days where it was exciting to be making these changes. There were days where I put my head in my hands saying, I can't do this. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And I said, no, I want this. I'm going to do it. So that first year, I went from 100,000 to 564,000 in 1 year. The next year then did a full 1 million in a 12-month time period. So I went from 100,000 to a year to 1 million a year. And I've never gone backwards since, in a 2-year time period, from that one decision, that one putting my, staking my claim, putting my flag in the earth, if you want to say it that way, and being really committed to running the business through that lens. And the model that works really well for that is high ticket, and then high ticket groups. I mean, that's what does it. That's what does it. It's high ticket groups. I mean, I made that $1 million that year without any super big programs. I had a 12-person high ticket group coaching program. I ran that. I had a couple of those. I had a 6-person at $18,000 each, some VIP days. It was a combination of things. And I worked more than I do now, but, and I was learning and experimenting, but it was really about high ticket is what gets you there, because the money, there's so much profit and so much revenue and profit there.
So that brings me to something that you were talking about a few minutes ago for our ladies, is to start off with high ticket. You mentioned start off with high ticket
from day one, and today can be your day one. If you've been in your business 2 years, 3 years, that doesn't matter. Today's your day one. Go high ticket. So absolutely.
Can you just talk to us a little bit more about that, because there will be many women out there who undersell their services.
Most
don't charge enough, especially if they're in the first few years, and are probably saying, yeah, I'll get there. I know I'll get there, but I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, you're never going to be ready. You become ready by putting yourself. It's like you don't swim standing on the ground. You swim when you're inside the pool, right? So you only become ready when you start doing it. So what happens, and high ticket, people have different price points about high ticket. Here's my basic standard that we've had for the last few years for our certification students is $5,000 for a 6-month coaching program. That's our starting standard. That's what we recommend, $5,000 for a 6-month program. Some people say, I want to charge more than that. That's great. Go ahead, go for it. I mean, and you do grow from there. There's a technique I teach called stair stepping, but some people are like, oh my God, I can't imagine that. That's okay. We'll stair step you into that, but you're going to get there very quickly. You're going to get there within 2 to 4 clients. And so I think that what happens is that when you make that decision, this goes back to making fabulous money as part of our spiritual path. When you make that decision, you're going to make that decision. You may make it feeling afraid. It doesn't matter. You may make it feeling afraid, uncertain, doesn't matter. Those emotions don't matter. This is a business decision that is going to, it's a spiritual business decision. How about that? I just made that up. It's a spiritual business decision because it's for you and how you're moving forward from how you are moving forward as a woman, and it's for your business. And what's going to happen is that because we've been through this so many times, and I face this myself, is that you're going to be confronted, front and center with all the crap about money. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. Who will pay that? What will other people think of me? What will my friends say? What will my family think? What do I do with that money? All the plethora of our mind stuff that comes up. But here's the thing. So you're going to be confronted with that. And that's a good thing because you'll work through it. You'll get coaching, you'll work through it, and that will dissolve. And what emerges, you've got this beautiful butterfly behind you, Jenny. That's exactly it, is that what emerges is more of a true you. And here's the thing to understand is that all that mental stuff, it's already happening anyway. It's happening for the woman who isn't charging very much or who's giving away her services. That mental stuff is already present. So why not use high ticket as a catalyst, as a vehicle to bring all that gunk to the surface and clear it away, and you emerge and you're like, this is pretty awesome. I just signed on a $5,000 client for 6 months. Wow. And you say, I'm going to go to 6,000 next time, and I'm going to go to 7,500. And this is how you step up. And then, it's a miraculous, wonderful, repeatable process.
Yeah, that will be music to many of our listeners' ears. I'm absolutely sure. So what I'd love to touch upon, and this is the raison d'être of the magazine. Mm-hmm. Is that I feel, and I'm sure that you will share this. I'd love to know how you perceive it. Is that because the purpose of the magazine and the platform, the whole Preeminence platform, is to help women who are helping women. Yes. Help women.
Yeah. Oh, you and I are so in harmony. So in harmony. It brings tears to my eyes because that's the ripple effect, right? That's the ripple effect. And it's ironically, this award here, this statue, that's a Stevie. They're like the Oscars of entrepreneurship. That's a Stevie that I won, Stevie Gold, and it's for women helping women. That's what that Stevie is for. Yeah. So was there a question there, or it just moved me to tears what you said?
Oh, bless you. I want to stay with this because mm-hmm. and ground it for women. Now, I know that our attention is even more focused on this because of what's happening in the world and women. And this is one thing, Kendall, that I've noticed in this 10 years is that when I first entered this industry in 2010, and I saw coaching and people helping as an entity, and I saw the good that it was doing for people, but with this whole idea that the Dalai Lama gave us with his prophecy of the Western woman will change the world, and and Western women entrepreneurs are doing a really good job of it. Yeah. It's never been more pertinent for women to know that their impact is inherent in their work, because so many of my own community and my own clients, my own entourage are impact makers. That they feel it. They feel it in that, like we feel it in our hearts more than even 2 years ago. Like absolutely. And we go, and we're going, oh God, there's no more time to waste. I can't just, I'm like, I've got to get out there and whatever I do to be more effective, then I need to find the way to be more effective in that, so I can reach more women who are reaching women. Would you you'd love to
I will. You are just so speaking to my heart, and you're saying things that I don't hear other people talking about, and yet it's there. It's part of our collective consciousness right now. I think that I want to say two things. Number one, please, everybody listening here, do not underestimate the power of one person, you, impacting one other woman. Don't underestimate that. Don't look online and see the thousands and the millions and the whatever and scale and all that stuff. Don't let that take you off your game. You impacting one other woman changes the world. It changes her world. It creates a legacy. It creates a ripple effect. I've been in this business over 21 years. I've had so many people come up to me or say on our calls and stuff, Kendall, I want you to know through the Sacred Money Archetypes, through the Money Breakthrough Business Coach certification, these are my 2 certifications, that I want you to know it's from me, Kendall, to the person speaking it. They say, I want you to know that this is impacting dozens of other people's lives because of the clients I'm coaching in this and their daughters. And it's like, it's so humbling. And yet that's why we're doing this work. So don't underestimate the impact of just you helping just one other woman, right? That makes a difference. And it grows from there. And I think the second thing is I was really fortunate in my growing up, in that my mom, who works with me in my business, my whole family works with me. And plus I have some employees who've been with me one of them's been with me almost 13 years, long time. But my mother was very successful as a hairdresser, and she was very young when I was born, and she became a hairdresser. I think she was 22 or something when she became a hairdresser, with myself and a younger brother to support. And she was very successful in her own way, in a very small way, just herself, but very well known, and premium prices, making great money, booked out for weeks in advance, and really good at her craft, right? And I got to watch her be in her power, running her own business, and counting money and helping her with her banking when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, 8 and 9 and 10 years old, making appointments, helping her make appointments, answering the phone. I got to learn this. So already from her, and she's a very different generation, obviously, where nobody else's mom was working. My mom worked and for herself, but from her to me, from me to all the women that I'm impacting. And this is how we do change the world. And we do. And I think it's that sometimes it can feel not heavy, but I feel the weight of it, and that's what happens for leaders. We're leaders. And as leaders, I feel the weight of that sometimes, especially being a highly empath person. But at the same time, I think, oh my God, how lucky, how fortunate that we can make this difference, that we can step into our power and be a role model of stepping into our power. Going back to high ticket, by the way, I'm sorry for my phone. Going back to high ticket, it's astonishing to me how often this happens. It happens almost every single time. A coach watching this here, consultant, a healer, charging high ticket. The woman who steps up and pays that, who invests in herself, she's not just paying it. That's just a mechanism. She's investing in herself. That changes a person. It brings tears to my eyes. It changes a person to do that. And there is no way I'm going to deny that woman that opportunity to change that way by undercharging. Why would I do that? I want her to step up. I don't care what she has to do to get the money. I don't care what she has to sell, or if she goes on credit card debt, not my business. She's stepping up and saying, I'm going to invest in myself for this. And that changes her. And right there, boom, impact from day one. How exciting is that? And then it goes and it ripples on from there. So that's another reason to charge high ticket. It changes people's lives, and starting with your own.
Mm.
You brought me to tears twice here today. Oh my God, all this emotion.
I don't really want to distill that by going too further, because I want that to land and let that
yeah.
everything that you just shared really permeate with the ladies, because I know how much they need to hear. I'm sure you do too. It is how much they need to not just hear it, but to embody it and start
to practice
it. Practice it and practice it.
and know that you're safe in doing it. Yeah, some people are going to judge you. So what? That stuff's already present in your life. You know, some people, they're going to judge you. People will have opinions. You know, my dad, who's not alive anymore, I think he was proud of me, but not really. He thought I should just be home taking care of a husband and having babies, you know, and cooking dinner. Oh my God, that's so not my path. From the time I was a little girl, that was not my path. So I don't know that he was ever particularly proud of me for being who I am and creating this success, but it doesn't matter. I'm not doing it for him. I'm doing it because this is what we're called to do. And I think that one of the primary things that I want to just presence here to bring into this is I want to go back to this word power, because it's something that is a word and you know, because you do some amazing things with horses as well. You know, when you're around these horses every day, they're powerful animals. They're fast, they're strong, they're big animals. And so I'm around power all the time, and I've learned how to be in relationship with it. And so I really believe that there is a never-ending supply of power, that women need to either be standing in their power, which means you're standing in your power, or you're taking it back if someone took it from you, or you stop giving it away. Stop giving it away. Stand in your power. There's plenty for everybody. There's no shortage of it. It's a never-ending resource, is power. And I think that's what women have to get comfortable with, and being able to be comfortable with power in a way that is also feminine, not the masculine way, power that is also feminine. That's our journey as women entrepreneurs in the helping space, like coaching, in the leadership space, like coaching. This is our journey.
It so is. That's really beautiful. Now I am going to share all the links necessary, logistics.
Okay.
share your resources, because you've got some beautiful, awesome free resources on your website, and so we're going to do that job. So is there anything else that you would like to say to our ladies?
I think just to say that you're brilliant. I truly believe that you're brilliant, and that you're so capable. You're so capable. And if you ever doubt or believing in yourself, remember that I believe in you. Take some of the belief that I have in you in those times when you need it. I don't think you can see the poster but this poster back here, there's a phrase that's the founding principle of all my work, is that we will hold you as powerful no matter what, even in moments when you may forget to do so for yourself. So just remember that.
So beautiful. I want to thank you so much. It's taken me 10 years, and it was worth it. It was absolutely worth every.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Every errant thing that I did. But it's been an absolute joy to share the quality of your teaching and your wisdom and your experience and everything. And I know that so many women are going to benefit from this. So from my heart to yours, thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Absolute pleasure to be here.